Okay, so this video is going to cover the question on monograms. So you should have your page set up from a previous online class with your page border, your title box down at the bottom, your name, monograms is the title, and the date. Don't worry about the date, by the way. Whatever date you've written on it is fine. It doesn't have to be today's one. So monograms, what are they? Well, monograms are logos that use text only to convey a message. So, for example, a monogram would be something like McDonald's, which uses a giant M to represent the fast food chain. Another monogram would be EA Sports, who use the letter E and A. And here we have another monogram, CAO. Okay, and this is the question that I'm going to ask you to work on today. Now, if I zoom in here a little bit, it is hard to see the dimensions here through this video, but I have shared this question with you through Google Classroom. CAO represents Central Application Office, and it's the office you apply to if you want to go to college when you finish your Leaving Cert to apply for courses. So we have all our dimensions or measurements down along the bottom and up along the side. So we can see that the overall width is 240. From here to here is 240. That's the overall width. And the overall height is 170 millimeters. So you can see that the arrow pointing from the very bottom to the very top, 170. So guys, remember I have this shared on Google Classroom. The dimensions will be a lot clearer in the file that I've shared with you. Okay, so the very first thing we need to do is figure out where we're going to position this on the page. Alright, so I'm going to give everybody a starting point. Okay, and our starting point for the A4 page, our starting point is down 2 millimeters and in 15. So it's a bit of a squeeze to get this on an A4 page, and I actually have an A4 page taped down here. If you're using an A3 page, the starting point is down 210 and in 75. Okay, now just to make things a little bit easier for everybody, the starting point on the A4 page is for the very top right corner up here, and the starting point on the A3 page is the bottom left. Okay, so these dimensions that I've written down here for the A3 page, it's the bottom left. For the A4 page, it's the top left. Okay, so A4 page, we're going to start up here at the top. A3 page, you'll be starting down there at the very bottom. Okay, so it won't make too much of a difference to you guys who are completing the question. So I'm going to get rid of that. Remember, you can pause and replay the video if you need to. So the first thing we're going to do, everybody, a little bit of recap on using our equipment. We're going to draw this outline rectangle. So see that rectangle that goes all the way around the perimeter of the three letters? We're going to start with that first. 240 wide, 170 high. Okay, now when we're finding a starting point using a set square, now I'm going to work with the A4 page starting point. 4H pencil. So I'm going to measure down 2 millimeters, which is not a lot at all, and put a little dot there on the page border, and I need to measure in 15. Okay, and there's 15 millimeters there, so just measured across in 15. So down 2 and in 15, and I've put a little dot on the page. That's my starting point, and I'm ready to go. Now, because this is a fairly wide rectangle, it's 240 millimeters wide, that's given in the question. I'm going to use my 60-30 set square, and that's the one that looks like a scalene triangle. Okay, I'm going to take my 2H pencil, and I'm going to begin by drawing, I'll begin by drawing a horizontal line. Okay, so, 4H pencil, and I'm going to draw a light line all the way across the page. I haven't measured that at all. I've gone completely to right to the end of the page border. I know that it should be 240 millimeters, so I'm going to measure off and mark off 240 millimeters after I draw the line. So there's 240 millimeters or 24 centimeters. So I'm going to put a dot there on that line that I've just drawn. Okay. So let me just zoom in there on this one really quickly. Okay, so you can see there 240 millimeters, and I've put a dot in the line. So from the starting point to here is 240. Okay, now, okay, so that's one line of my rectangle. Set square again. Set square, remember, must be sitting on your T-square. T-square should be nice and snug against the left side of your desk. Okay, set square should have no gaps down here. And I'm going to draw a vertical line from the starting point down. And I'm going to do the same over this side. Okay, so a second vertical line. Like that. I haven't measured this line. I don't know what length it is. I'm going to go back here to the question where I have the dimensions. And I know it should be 170 millimeters. So I'm going to measure from the top. Starting point, remember, down 170 millimeters. Okay, and you can see that that's a very tight squeeze to fit it on an A4 page, but it will fit right down here just above the page border. And I'm going to complete my rectangle then, okay, by drawing a second horizontal line. Now that I have that done, sorry, dropping pencils here. Now that I have that done, I can see in the question that that rectangle should stand out. So that's what we call a finished line type. Okay, so I'm going to heavy that in. So I'm swapping to the 2B pencil for finished line types. And I'm just going to heavy in over those 4 lines that I've just drawn to make up the initial rectangle. Because I want them to stand out. Okay, so 2B pencil. I'm heavying in over those lines because I want that to stand out. This is a very tight fit on an A4 page. Anybody using an A3 page there, you'll probably notice that there's a lot more room left around the question. But that's okay. We'll just use what we have while we're at home. Alright, so first rectangle drawn. Okay, excellent. Now let me just zoom in here again on the question. Okay, so I'll get a bit closer to that there. Alright, I know this is hard to see, but we are provided with a load of dimensions down here at the bottom of this page. So 15, 20, 20, 20, 15, 20, 20, 20, 15, 20, 20, 20, 15. And a load of dimensions up along the right hand side. And these are going to help us to draw in all the vertical lines that make up the letters and all the horizontal lines that make up the letters. Okay. So, what I would like you to do next of all is we are going to mark off along the very bottom the spaces that are provided to us by each of these dimensions. So all along here. So to do that in our drawing, if I zoom out again, move the camera a little bit to the right here. This way. Okay, so using my set square, down at the bottom of the sheet, down at the very bottom line, going along here, and I'm going to mark off each of those dimensions provided to me. Okay, so I'm going to use my 4H pencil for this. Starting with 15 millimeters. Okay, so being very careful to make sure we're using the dimensions that are provided exactly on the drawing. Remember, use the file I shared on Google Classroom, it's a lot easier to see. So 15, and then I have 20, 20, and 20. You'll see there that I just added 20 to 20, so 20, 40, 60, instead of moving the ruler. 15 again, and then I have 20, 20, and 20, 15 again, 20, 20, 20, and I should be left with 15 at the very end. So guys, you can see, you can just barely see those little marks that I left there along that bottom horizontal line. So I need to do the same thing up along this line, this vertical line to the left. So, up along here, I need to do the very same thing. So set square again. I'll just move that over a little bit. Okay, and let's have a look at the dimensions. So we have 15 and 15. So I just added those together. So 15 and 15 is 30. Okay, next dimension there given to me is, just going to straighten the camera a little bit, 45 millimeters. So big space there, 45 millimeters. Then we have 15 and 15 again, 35 millimeters this time, and then 15 and 15. So 15 plus 15, that brings me to the end of the vertical line. Okay, so we are not going to try and draw in these letters individually. What we're going to do is we're going to make up a grid, and then we're going to use the grid to help us locate each corner of each of these letters. So to do that, from each of these spaces that I've marked off along the bottom of this drawing, I'm going to use my 4H pencil to draw a series of vertical lines. So nice and light, these are construction lines. But we need to make sure, everybody, that our set square is sitting correctly on your T-square. Okay, make sure there are no gaps. Each and every one of these lines should be vertical and they should be parallel to each other. Okay, if you notice that one of the lines looks like it's gone a bit diagonal, then the chances are your set square has moved, or your T-square may not be in the right position. Okay, so this question is very good for furthering or developing your skills in using your equipment. Okay, so it's a series of vertical lines using our T-square and our set square, like so. Okay, just to recap on that, to show you exactly what I'm doing, make sure your T-square is sitting nice and snug against your desk, and that your set square is sitting snugly down on your T-square. Okay, and then we can slide it across the T-square like that. And you can see that I'm matching each of these vertical lines with a point that I've marked off previously along this bottom edge. So same thing with these points up along this vertical line. But this time all I need is my T-square. Okay, so horizontal line, sliding up to the next point. I go up here as well, making sure that the T-square is exactly lined up with those little marks you left on this line. Not above, not below. Okay, horizontal line again. 4H pencil, remember, these lines should be very, very light. They should be just about visible because we want them to fade into the background when we're done. So that's our grid complete, okay? So it kind of looks like a maths copy in a way. So what I'm going to do next, everybody, is I'm going to figure out how we can use that to find the C, the A and the O. Well, if I zoom in here for a moment, I'll show you how to use this grid. Okay, I'm going to move my T-square out of the way for a second. I'm going to get a set square. And if you look at each one of these points that I've marked off along this bottom line, and if I were to take a set square, you'll see that each of those marks lines up with a vertical line in the letter C, A and O. Okay, so every time I bring a line vertical from those points, it lines up with a vertical line on C, A and O. And the same thing for these points here that we marked off along the vertical line to the right. Those points line up with horizontal lines that make up the letter C, A and O. Okay, you see that? So what I can do is I can use the grid that I've just drawn to find this point, here, 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 all the way around to make up C. So let me just zoom out a small bit. Let's have a look. So I'm going to start with this point here. So I need to come in one space and up one space, in one, up one, and that's that point there. So for the top of the C, I need to come down one space and in one space. That's here. Okay, if you look at the bottom horizontal line of the letter C, it's 1, 2, 3 spaces in length. So 1, 2, 3 brings me to here. Now I need to go up from that point one small space and a big space. That brings me to here. To the left, one space. All the way down to this point, which is here. Okay, back to this point. And then I go all the way up here. So I'm in in two spaces and down two spaces. So this down to 1, 2 and in 2 is here. Over towards the right, one distance or one space. And then this one here can be a little bit tricky, so I'm going to use my set square. And I'm going to bring this line across. And I'm just going to count down from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 4 spaces down from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's to here. Okay, and that point and that point will finish out to C. So guys, I'm going to take my T-square again, and I'm going to join up these 2 points at the very bottom. Set square then for the vertical line, so set square and T-square for the vertical lines. Okay, I'll work my way around here. So I'm using the 2B pencil, guys, I should have said there. So 2B pencil, because I want these lines to stand out as much as possible. I might just go over this one again, I was using the wrong pencil there. Okay, vertical line there. Vertical line here. I'm going to join up both these points. And down here as well. Okay, and just to finish off our letter C, there and there. Okay, so guys, there is the letter C that we've just completed using the grid method. Okay, and you can see that there's one space between the C and the A and the A and the O, and we're going to use the same technique then to complete the A and the O. Okay, so guys, have a go at that a little bit, and I'll post another video just on finishing the A and the O, maybe a little bit of colour then as well.